got a bang-up show for you today. We're going to be speaking to my guest, William Trackman, in just a moment from the Heritage Foundation. I thought it was really important to discuss this issue with Biden and Kamala Harris wanting to reform the Supreme Court. I realize this is an election cycle, but I think Republicans need to start fighting back against this, and so that's why we have William Trackman on. He'll be with us shortly. New text messages revealing another troubling update from the Trump assassination attempt. An interview with Mark Krikorian in the second hour, the Center for Immigration Studies. You're not going to want to go anywhere for that as well. They say that illegals do not commit more crimes. We'll get into that lie. Also, what's happening in Venezuela and socialism in general. But let me do this. Let me go right to my guest. If we have him on the line, do we have William Track? Okay. All right. So we're waiting for William Trackman to come onto the phone. But here's what I want to talk about, and here's why I believe this issue with the Supreme Court is something that we just can't look past as conservatives. I believe that there has been a constant attempt by the left to undermine the Supreme Court of the United States of America. And basically what happens is over time, the more and more you do such a thing, the more and more likely it is, it's going to happen. Liberals are telling you exactly what they want to do. They want to pack the court. They want to reform the court. Now, I understand that right now this doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of getting through the House or passing or an amendment process. But remember what the left likes to do. The left likes narrative. The left likes story. And what the left believes that they can do is they believe that they can say something over and over and over and over again to the point that you believe it. I mean, they told us for years that Joe Biden was sharp as a tack, that his brain was not mush until they decided that it was. Now they're telling you that Kamala Harris is the greatest thing since sliced bread, when previously they had been telling us that she's literally bringing the ticket down, and they were searching for possibly another VP pick for Joe Biden. So it's amazing what the left can do. Zach, just let me know when we have Trackman there, if you would. But anyway, so this is one of the things that we're going to talk about. Also, again, there are new text messages that reveal while we're waiting for William Trackman to get online here. Okay. All right. Let's go right to let's go right to our. I missed that, Zach. Let's go right to our guest, William Trackman. He's with the Heritage Foundation. Mountain Legal Foundation. Forgive me. I am so sorry. All right, William Trackman, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much. Greetings from Colorado.
Thank you so much. Will you tell people where they can go to find you online? I just screwed that up miserably. I want people to know where they can find you and who and who you represent, if you don't mind.
That's okay. Some of my best friends are at Heritage Foundation. I'm at Mountain States Legal Foundation. We're in Denver, Colorado. We're a constitutional law firm. And our website is mslegal.org, mslegal.org, and we're always interested in new supporters and new cases.
All right, I appreciate that, William. William, listen, I wanted to bring you on because I understand what's this argument with the Supreme Court, and I'd like to get your take on it. Biden unveiled his plan to reform the Supreme Court. You had VP Kamala Harris jump on it like a lemming. I don't think she thinks for herself. But the reason I know this will likely go nowhere, but I wanted to bring you on to address this anyway, simply because I'm so tired of the left trying to undermine the Supreme Court. And frankly, William, I don't think the right takes this seriously enough, because I think the left is telling us what they want to do. Even if they don't get it done now, this is something that they want to do that I feel like we need to address. Your take?
Yeah, absolutely. I've heard of lame ducks before, but this is the lamest. So this is a proposal to put 18-year term limits on the Supreme Court justices. The practical details are very vague. It's not clear what they do with the current justices, or whether it would apply to, for instance, Justice Sonia Sotomayor in 2027 and Justice Kagan in 2028 if President Trump wins in November. But yes, you're right. This is basically just to get the conversation started on how we can destroy the Supreme Court and make it so that they decide cases in a way that's more favorable to left-wing policies and their institutional interests. So they're upset. They don't control the Supreme Court. These justices were appointed, 6 of them by Republicans and 3 by Democrats, and they think the court ought to be rebalanced. And this is a little bit like calling this reform is a little bit like destroying a vase on the ground and calling it vase reform. This is an extinction level event that would change the rule of law forever.
And does it trouble you that they can just come out and say something like this, and then you get a bunch of lemmings in the media, and quite frankly, even some voters that'll go along with this, perhaps not realizing that this would circumvent their power as well? I mean, we have three separate branches of government, for God's sakes. I mean, does this stuff just drive you nuts?
Yeah, I mean, nothing surprises me anymore, but yes, I'm going to have a heart attack between now and November if I keep seeing reports like this. It really is both a way to gin up the base and a way to intimidate the justices of the Supreme Court as they start their next term in October, to make it clear that they mean business. It's not a very serious proposal, as you point out. The House of Representatives would never actually proceed, and there's still a filibuster in the Senate. And if they did this, of course, then and President Trump won in November, I seriously doubt they'd be in favor of him appointing 8 of the 9 justices on the Supreme Court. So this really is not necessarily to achieve the end goal, but to make sure people are talking about it and people jump on board. It really doesn't have to do with the merits of the proposal so much as the optics of the proposal.
Again, I'm speaking to William Trackman. He's the general counsel for Mountain States Legal Foundation, and we're talking about Biden's plan to reform the Supreme Court of the United States. And I realize this is for political expediency, but I believe that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris alike are both authoritarians, and I know this is something that they would really love to have done. Is there anything that Biden could do as president? This may sound silly to kind of. I mean, they're co-equal branches of government, so there's nothing he could do via executive order to weaken their power in any way, shape, or form. I mean, could he?
I mean, there are ways that the branches interact. So Congress has the power of the purse. They fund the building. They keep the lights on at the Supreme Court. They fund the clerks that the justices have every year. So if they wanted to get nuclear, I suppose they could. In terms of an executive order, it's unlikely. You know, we've seen plenty of efforts by the president and previous presidents in the past to try to intimidate the Supreme Court and work the refs. But that's not really formal power. That's more informal power. But there's no guarantee that the Congress couldn't do other things to try to influence this. They can always try to strip jurisdiction of the court for certain cases. They could try to pack the court by adding justices. You know, if they added 4 additional justices, some people say that wouldn't require a constitutional amendment, and that's a way that they could add left-wing judges to the court. So there are certainly a number of ways to do that. They've all been unthinkable until now. We had a brief period under Franklin Delano Roosevelt where he was talking about it, and he was rightfully shamed away from doing it. And we haven't talked about it again for almost 100 years.
Man, this is unbelievable. I honestly, William, sometimes I've been talking about this type of stuff for years, and I still can't believe the times that we're living under, especially in the last few weeks of everything that's taken place. It's been insane, from this attempted coup of Biden to the attempted the coup of Biden, the attempted assassination of former President Trump. And I feel like we're just moving on from some of the biggest stories the United States has ever seen. It's crazy. He also calls on Congress to approve term limits for justices. Now, I think this is stupid right off the bat, because the reason why the justices are not term limited is so they don't have to be scared to go through some type of an election process, and they can, they can do their job freely. We have about a minute, and then if you could, William, I'd like to keep you over for a few minutes in the next segment if you can.
Yeah, so these are essentially 18-year term limits. They're not elections. They would just replace one justice every 2 years.
Right.
But there's no analysis in President Biden's op-ed as to what you do with the current justices. I think what they're saying is they would make all the justices who have already been there 18 years senior status. That is, they would still technically be there in the building, that have an office, but they wouldn't decide cases. And again, as I point out, if that were really what they want to do, then 8 of the 9 justices will be appointed by President Trump if he wins in November. And that really can't be what they actually mean to do. So happy to stay around. We'll talk more about this idea, but it really is a troubling turn of events that we've seen.
Man, Man, all right. More with William Trackman. I'm sorry, on the other side of the break. Stay tuned. He's a general counsel for Mountain State Legal Foundation. Today's show is brought to you in part by Priority Gold. Economists warn that massive tax hikes could devastate your IRA and your 401k account as the stock market braces for impact. With inflation on the rise and global uncertainty looming, it's clear why central banks and savvy Americans are turning to gold. In times like this, Proverbs 21:20 reminds us to preserve what we built. Right now, that wisdom points us towards gold. If you haven't had your eye on gold, time to make it a priority. My name is Carl Jackson, and I am urging you to call my friends at Priority Gold to find out how they can help you diversify your savings with physical gold and silver. Call 1-800-405-GOLD or visit PriorityGold.com/golden for a free gold info guide. Plus, see if you qualify for free shipping and storage. Act now to get your portfolio working for you while the market is golden. Again, call 1-800-405-GOLD, 1-800-405-GOLD to speak with a gold specialist or visit PriorityGold.com/golden, PriorityGold.com/golden. All right, welcome back to the program. The number to call in, 844-900-7243, 844-900-7243. Tons of news to get to, and I promise you that I will get to it. We'll expose Kamala Harris, too. Trump is out with a new ad against her, and I'm so glad you guys heard me railing yesterday that I felt like they need to start getting more out on this chick, and they are doing it. So they must have listened to me exclusively yesterday, Zach. So anyway, I'm back with my guest, William Trackman. He is the general counsel for Mountain States Legal Foundation, and we're talking about this radical reform of the Supreme Court of the United States that Joe Biden wants, as well as you have Kamala Harris parroting this stuff. And I feel like conservatives shouldn't just wash this away or push this to the side. I believe they need to take it seriously because the left is telling us what they want to do. They're going to say it over and over and over. Now, the reason why I bring William Trackman on, because I don't know what they can or can't do. So he's been breaking this down. I mean, the Supreme Court is a co-equal branch of government, and I just never thought we would see the times that we're living in. I mean, it's just so crazy. So let me get back to our guest, William. Before we went to the break, you were talking about these term limits that Joe Biden and now Kamala Harris wants to be able to impose on the justices, and you were saying that it wouldn't be good for the left, at least not in the immediate future, because that would mean, did you say 8 of the justices would basically be, if Trump were to win, Trump would be the one bringing in new justices?
Yeah, if you think about it, and again, we don't have complete details on the proposal, but if you're going to impose 18-year term limits where each justice is appointed every 2 years, so you get 9 times 2, 18. What do you do with the current justices? And so there are 3 justices already on the court appointed by President Trump, 1 by President Biden, and there will be 5 others who by the end of 2028 will have been there 18 years. So if the plan at the end of the day is to force those justices to go senior so that you can appoint 9 new justices, President Trump would then be able to appoint 8 of the 9 justices. Is that really what the proposal is? That seems a little surprising, but I suppose if the Republicans took complete control of the House, Senate, and presidency in January and just said, okay, let's have a vote, and the vote goes through, then it would be a little awkward for the Democrats to vote against it, saying, oh, no, we don't trust President Trump to appoint these new judges. It's just a little weird, right?
It is weird, but it would be disastrous for our country, wouldn't it, William?
Yeah, so once you start tinkering with the rule of law because you don't like the outcomes, you really do invite chaos. I mean, we have had left-wing courts before. We've had right-wing courts before. And no one is going to be happy with every ruling the 9 justices issue. I mean, every case has a winner and a loser. Some of the cases are hot button. Many of them charged have to do with civil rights, the power of government, free speech. It is impossible for anyone ever to be satisfied with every case. Even this term, there were cases upholding restrictions on guns and a number of other cases. Just last year they upheld Biden's immigration changes. So, look, there are winners and losers, and conservatives are on the losing side, with this court, even though it's 6 Republican-appointed justices. you don't see them calling for court packing. You don't see them calling for term limits because they understand that these things happen, and you play with the rule of law. You play it as you see it, and if you start tinkering with it, it opens up a new can of worms.
And you want to give the justices the freedom and the peace to be able to adhere to the Constitution rather than to get caught up in the facts of the day and have to worry about their jobs. I mean, that's the reason why they have these lifetime appointments, right?
Absolutely. And, I've seen Biden in his article say that we're one of the few countries that has lifetime appointments, but we're one of the few countries that has a robust rule of law system, and we've survived over 200 years and prospered with that system. So maybe we are exceptional in that way. But absolutely, to your point, the more a justice is thinking about, are they going to face backlash? Are they going to get removed? Are they going to be forced to step down? The less they're thinking about the merits of the case in front of them, and that is a dangerous recipe.
Oh, man, these people are just, these are my words, not yours, William, but these people on the left are evil. That's my opinion. Let me just get you to, you're an attorney, so you can be more judicious with your words.
Yeah.
All right, so the third point I want to get to real quickly here, we got 3 minutes left. Biden wants a code of ethics for the 9 justices. Now, this, to me, is obviously political. This is an attempt for Joe Biden to go after Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas. And by the way, there are other people on the Supreme Court that have taken, gifts from friends, vacations. Frankly, I don't care as long as they're not involved in any of the court cases.
Right. So we've seen Justice Sotomayor strong-arm law schools into buying her books before she makes an appearance at the law school. We've seen former Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg accept gifts and trips. So this is, an issue that affects justices of all stripes. Certainly, there ought to be a code of conduct. There is now a code of conduct. There are also reporting requirements. There are practically recusal requirements in terms of ensuring that a justice doesn't sit on a case where they have a financial incentive involved, like a case involving a broker where they have their retirement account. So there are plenty of checks and balances on this system. No justice wants to be in the headlines. So there is a code of conduct. This is an effort, as I see it, to try to put some regulatory body over the Supreme Court, and in which case it's hardly supreme, but they want to put maybe lower court justices overseeing the Supreme Court, or maybe they want to do some sort of outside regulatory body that would then tell the Supreme Court when they've done something wrong. Although what the consequences are is hard to see because there's lifetime appointment. So we don't have a lot of details, but I agree with you. It's a political attempt to try to intimidate the justices from their jobs, and it's unfortunate.
Again, I'm speaking to William Trackman. He's the general counsel for Mountain States Legal Foundation. In your opinion, William, we just have a minute left. Should Republicans take this argument down? How should they take it on? Should they even bother before the election? In your opinion, I do feel like this is something they need to address and strongly. But what's your take before the election leading up to it?
Well, I'm no political strategist, and my firm is not a political firm. We're 501c3. But I would love for Republicans, Democrats, Libertarians, Green Party people to condemn this proposal with the full strength of their voice, because it is a very dangerous one for our republic. And in the short term, it may feel good to talk about the Supreme Court and how you're going to change it to make the results suit you. But be careful. The worm always turns. There will be another election. There will be a Republican in power. And the best thing you could do to preserve norms is to preserve the norms. And don't make changes just because you think they'll benefit you in the short term. That's been a problem in the recent past for Democrats, and it'll be a problem again if they start talking about changing the way the Supreme Court makes its decisions. It's not good for our country to talk about these types of changes, and I hope they fail.
All right. I'm with you, William. Thank you so much for joining us. William Trackman, General Counsel for Mountain States Legal Foundation. Real quick, William, tell people where they can go to find you again.
mslegal.org. That's mslegal.org. We're always looking for new supporters and new cases. We have an open request system, so if you've got a good case idea, send it our way.
All right, mslegal.org.
Guys,
Thank
I
you.
want to talk to you about wealth protection research. At the very heart of our democracy lies a principle that we hold sacred. It's free speech. It's the cornerstone that supports every freedom that we cherish. Yet in today's digital age, discussions about our wealth, our rights, and our future are being silenced or overshadowed in mainstream narratives, leaving many feeling voiceless in conversations crucial to our financial independence and security. This is where wealth protection research steps in. They're armed with a mission that's never been more critical. Wealth protection research is not a financial advisory firm. They are defenders of free speech, committed to giving a voice to the silence. Wealth protection research tirelessly seeks out financial experts. These are the voices that challenge prevailing narratives, especially as we navigate the uncertainties of the 2024 election. Wealth protection research has created a 2024 election wealth protection report. This free report highlights the 3 best ideas for protecting and growing your money heading into the 2024 election. It contains ideas the mainstream media won't touch, and listeners can get it completely free. All you have to do is text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you believe in the sanctity of free speech and the importance of financial freedom, act now. Text the word ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy of this 2024 election protection report. It's time to widen the scope of what we're told, to hear the ideas the establishment does not think you can handle, and to take control of our financial destinies. Text ideas to 76626 to claim your free copy. If you text the word ideas today, you'll also get a free gold investment kit from Wealth Protection Research, sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals.
All right, welcome back to the program. All right, so this is the last stretch, how Barack Obama ended normalcy in American politics. So basically, you guys, you remember that cringeworthy call between Barack Obama and Kamala Harris. Oh, and by the way, they're going to have dueling rallies in Atlanta right now. Thank you, Zach. You have Kamala Harris that has her rally going on. Megan Thee Stallion on stage. Yep. Harris slams Trump on killing. What did she say? Harris slams Trump on, this just popped up, on killing border bill, a star-studded rally featuring Megan Thee Stallion, where they wanted 1.8 million illegals to come into the country every year. So insane. But anyway, she'll get her comeuppings. But the people never called for Kamala. The people didn't want Kamala. Obama wanted Kamala, and apparently this was the inside scoop. Even though we think she's a disaster, Biden considered her of his vein. So he had been wanting to endorse her for 5 years. The endorsement was more than 5 years in the making, according to Lee Smith. He wanted her in the spot. Their families are old friends, according to Lee Smith. Like him, Harris is progressive, multiracial, obviously attractive, nominally hip, a child of academics. In other words, according to Obama-friendly media, she's a, quote, female Barack Obama, except she's not. She's not smart. She's disastrous. She's not as quick on her feet. Although Obama was a teleprompter king, but he directed donors to support her 2020 presidential campaign. This, according to sources, Capitol Hill sources, more billionaires, 47, backed her campaign than any other candidates, with Obama strongholds in Hollywood included. Obama secured the VP nod for Harris. He worked behind the scenes to secure the VP nod for Harris. Joe Biden objected. Harris had called her husband a racist. You guys remember that during that debate. So Joe Biden reported recent tantrums show that she's still not over it, basically. But listen to this. She never fully grasped the arrangement the party had made with her husband. And obviously, with him having dementia, he couldn't grasp it either. But they were like, dude, you're just a stepping stone, essentially. So when did Obama decide that it was time to throw Joe Biden over the rails? Was it after the debate performance or after the attempted assassination? No, it seems to be the countdown officially began October 7th, the attack on Israel. He did not like the way that Joe Biden navigated the Gazans' murderous assault on communities in southern Israel, and he felt like it exposed Biden's limited ability to represent the interests of the party he was tapped to temporarily preside over. In other words, Obama wanted to go left. He had brought Iran in to be a friend, to be a new ally of the United States of America, and he felt like Joe Biden was screwing that up. Oh, my Lord. All right, guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.
You might have heard Mike Lindell and MyPillow no longer have the support of the big box stores or the shopping channels that they used to. They've been part of this cancel culture, so they want to pass savings directly on to you, my listeners. They have a $25 extravaganza. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just one product, but with the help of his dedicated employees, they now have hundreds of products, some that you may even know about. Obviously, you know about the MyPillow. So here's what Mike is doing to get the word out. I'm inviting my listeners to go to mypillow.com for their $25 extravaganza. They have a 2-pack multi-use MyPillows for just $25. MyPillow sandals are just $25. Their 6-pack towel sets are just $25. Brand new pack of dish towels, $25. So for the first time ever, the premium MyPillows with the all-new Giza fabric are just $25 as well. And orders over $75 receive free shipping. All you have to do to get this amazing offer is go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Carl, C-A-R-L, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. That's promo code Carl.